Hello everyone, you're welcome to our lesson number 3 in Excel, and we are still looking at formula in Excel. In today's lesson, we want to base our discussion on relative cell references. So before we look at what relative cell references is, let us first look at what a cell reference is. A cell reference refers to the location or an address of a cell in a worksheet. A location or an address of a cell in a worksheet. And in most cases, when we are dealing with formulas and functions, we deal with cell addresses or the location. We don't deal with the exact values or figures. So, for example, A1 is the cell address, C6 is the cell address, AD1 is the cell address. So you can look at this example here, where 20 is, the cell address where 20 is called A1. How do you read the cell address? Stand where? Stand on that cell, then you begin by reading the column letter, then you come and read the row number. For example, when you stand here, the column number here is A, and the column letter here is A, then the row number here is 1, so that qualifies it to be A1. When you come to 34, it is under cell address B4. So how do we get that? Standing in this cell, and you read the column letter, then you come to row number, so it gives you B4. So that's how we get it, or we read the cell addresses or the cell locations. Therefore, relative cell reference is a reference that changes when you copy a formula. The locations that changes, the addresses that changes when you copy a formula. For instance, a formula A2 plus B2 typed in cell C2 will change when copied to cell C3, and it will be A3 plus B3, and so on. Let's also look at that. So when we come and we get, we want to get the additions of this one, the sums, 20 plus 60, 30 plus. So what we do, we are going to add the 2. So in cell C1, you have A1 plus B1. But when you copy this formula here, when you copy it, sorry, so it gives us that. So we can copy up to there. So we want to concentrate on the cell addresses. So you can see here, when you click on this one here, it is A1 plus B1. But remember, we copied all these ones. So when I come and click on the second one, it will be able to change from A1 plus B2 to A2 plus B2. So you can see around here, and so on. So in case you copy the formula and the cell addresses are changing when you click on them, that reference is called the relative cell reference or relative reference. So in most cases, that's the kind of reference that we use. So I want to demonstrate that. I want to demonstrate this with this example. We are still continuing with our formula. The following information was drawn from Kiumia College payroll for the year 2015. The figure are in UGX, and you're having the title here, Kiumia College payroll for December 2015, and this is the table. Then they have given you what to do. NSSF is equal to 15% of the basic pay. So let's first come up with this table. So I'm going to use this very sheet here, demonstrate that. The first one we are having Kiumia College. Just type it the way it is. And what you must know, when you come to the table must appear the way it is on the question paper here. So here we have Kiumia College payroll for December 2015. So we type that one normally. Okay, that one is done. Then that means that the next one will be here. We have name, sex, faculty, basic, medical. So look at the way it is appearing. When you reach here, within the same cell you have gross pay, meaning that they did not extend the cells here. What they simply did, they had to use that feature that enables you to make the text fit in the cell without you expanding it, and that feature is called the wrap text. So to come up with this very table the way it looks, we are going to wrap these cells here. We shall wrap text in this cell, and you can do that before typing your text. So what you do, you simply count the number of columns you have: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we are going to wrap only the first row, this first row here. So that means that you come and count your number of columns, 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So up to J. But we are going to wrap only the first row. So that means that you are going to select only that row up to J. Then you simply just come here and say wrap text. So make all content visible within a cell by displaying it on a multiple lines. So you can do that. After that, then come back and begin typing in your text. So the first one is names, sex, faculty, basic, names, sex, faculties, basic, we have medical transport payee, transport, payee, housing, gross pay, gross pay, there is net pay. Okay, So now we are good to go. And now what we need to do, make sure that these ones are the way they are. So that means that what we can do, you can play around with the text size or font size. So when you come here, you can increase it maybe to 12. Then when you come to this one, you may also put it to 12. When you come to this one is also, you can put them also to 12. Just a matter of playing with the font sizes. Now when you come back to our table, these ones, if at all they have forced themselves to be in 2 lines, that's when you try to expand the cell such that it's only these ones which are on the on 2 lines. So like faculties, extend a bit, transport, extend a bit, then net pay you can reduce a bit. So you can see we have come up with our table. But still, when you go back to this table here, the alignment of the text, these spaces here are not up, they are down. But ours here, the spaces are down. You can take it up by selecting the text. Then for this time we are going to align. So under alignment here, you have bottom, you have middle, then top. So we are going to use top, like that. You can now see the way the table in the question paper look is the way this one is. So let's go ahead and enter in our details now in the table. So you make sure you be very fast. So after entering our details, we can now go ahead and look at what is supposed to be done. But before that, for this case, this is how our table looks like. Yeah, you don't need to change anything. So now let's come and calculate the medical from the question here. Roman 1, we should get NSSF, which is equal to 15% of basic. But we don't have NSSF here, and it should be the first. Now since we know how to insert a new column, let's insert that. And we'll simply call it NSSF. And we are getting the NSS for the first person, and I've told us it is in 15% of the basic. So before you feed in your formula, you must begin with equal sign, and 15% of means multiplication basic, and the basic for the first person for Male is 356,000, and we know that we don't deal with the exact value, but we deal with the cell location. So cell location for this is D4. So you can type here D4, or you simply just click on it and you press enter. So after getting that, you can copy this formula for the rest of the people by simply coming to the first answer you got, click on it, then move your cursor to the bottom here. When it changes to a plus, drag it down. Then medical, they told us medical is 50% of basic less 90% of NSSF. Medical must be equal to 50% of basic less 90% of NSSF. So medical for the first person is equal to 50%. Since we are having two operations, there is 50% of basic, and we are going to less 90% of NSSF. So let us group them in bracket. open bracket, 50% of, which is the times basic, and the basic for the first one here is this one here, close that bracket. Less means minus. We open a bracket for next operation. 90% of NSSF. So our NSSF is there. Then we close that bracket, press enter. So you have got the medical for the first person. The rest of the people, you simply copy the formula. Okay. Transport, they told us NSSF plus medical. Transport is equal to NSSF plus medical. So transport for the first person will be equal NSSF, the first NSSF is that, plus the medical for that person is this, and equal. Okay, you copy. Payee is 10% of transport. Payee is equal to 10% of transport. So the pay for the first person will be equal 10% of transport, and transport for the first person is this one. Press enter. Then you will be able to copy for the other people. Then housing, payee plus NSSF. Housing is equal to payee, the payee is here, plus NSSF, and NSSF is here. Then enter. So therefore, for the rest of the people, you simply come and copy. Gross pay is equal to basic plus medical plus transport plus housing. Gross pay is equal to basic plus medical plus transport plus housing. So gross pay for the first person will be equal to basic. Our basic for the first person is here, plus medical, which is here, plus transport, which is this, plus housing, which is here. Then enter, and you will be able to copy for the rest of the people. Then lastly, we have net pay. Net pay is equal to gross pay less deductions, NSSF plus payee. Net pay is equal to gross pay less deduction, NSSF plus pay. That means that you are going to get gross pay minus NSSF plus payee. So for the first person, equal gross pay. Our gross pay is that, minus, there is an operation here, NSSF plus payee. Close your bracket, enter, and you will be able to get your net pay, copy for these other people. Alright, now here we are having the values, but when you come here, we have hash. Hash does not mean that you are wrong, but it means that the cell is too narrow for the figure to be displayed there. So simply come and enlarge that cell. Alright, then what's next? Under our table here, we also have total. That means that they want us to get the total for basic total. So let's get that. You can also include here total. For the first one, which is basic, is equal the first person plus the second person plus the third person plus the fourth person plus the fifth person plus for the sixth person plus the seventh plus 10th plus the last person, and you press enter. Then you copy for the rest of the items, NSSF, medical. So this time we are copying horizontally, so you drag it horizontally. So that has been our lesson for today, basing on the example. Let's meet in the next discussion.